All right, for me now, this is kind of the make or break moment to decide whether or not this thing was even worth having in my garage. Because realistically speaking, even if it can do a lot of cleaning and stuff, if I really need it for some pressure washing type things and it can't do that, there's not a whole lot of reason for me to have another extra tool. I just recently made a video reviewing this Ryobi 1800 PSI, very small, compact, affordable pressure washer, under $100, which is amazing. And I thought, you know what? For what it can do, it's a bargain. But then I was at Lowe's and I came across this with a little as seen on TV, little marker there. I mean, that's always gonna kind of get me curious, right? Somebody showing off something on TV, they're usually at least seem like they're probably too good to be true. For under $20, this thing says I can turn any hose into a power washer. It says power washer, not pressure washer, probably so they don't get sued. But I'm curious how well this could compare to what this little pressure washer can do. So today I'm gonna run this through the same tests that I ran this one through in our last video. And we're gonna see how it stacks up, because honestly, this is a lot cheaper, but also this is a lot less to store than this. All right, now I got it unpacked. This is the Turbo Jet. You can pick it up online, you can pick it up at Lowe's, probably any number of places. It does come with two different nozzles. One here is kind of a fan type nozzle. The other one up here is a small jet type nozzle. And if I'm completely honest, the first thought I had when I saw it in the packaging was, there's no way I'm not gonna lose the second nozzle. So whichever one I like better is the one I'll probably leave attached. But then when I took it out of the packaging, I saw it's got this little cool rubber threaded piece right here, so I can store the extra one on that. Now it is kind of a soft rubber, so I could see it breaking off eventually. So I probably will store the fan one on here because I think I'll probably use the little fan nozzle more. But I guess we'll see as we test it out. There's not a whole lot more to it than that. It just is what it is. I guess it does have, it's a 1/4 inch, 1/4 turn ball valve. That's gonna be off. And then I can actually up the flow and, you know, pressure. Really, it's just the flow. And so therefore the power that I'm gonna get out of it just by opening it more and more. Usually open should be straight line. If it's perpendicular to the pipe, then it's gonna be closed. So we'll start it off closed, go hook it up to a hose, and we're gonna go test it out on the concrete out front and see how it does getting some of those plums off of my sidewalk. Well, right off the bat, we have one oddity, and that is that it's off when it's in a straight line, when it's parallel. That's like never the case with a ball valve. It's standard the other way, but they must have just changed it by moving the handle, which is a simple thing to do, and that's fine. It's actually probably more convenient that way, so that when it's off, like when you stow it away, it's off, and you can tell when it's on because you open it up. So there's the first thing right there. All right, let's go try it out. Nice thing is it connects to my normal garden hose. So my only limitation on how far I can go is how long my hose is. All right, with the little jet, I'm actually cleaning these plums off really, really well. Easily as well as I did with the pressure washer, but it's on a smaller area because it's just the little tiny jet. So I want to try it with the fan nozzle now. Fan nozzle is obviously going to allow me to clean a bigger area at once. It's also going to give me a little bit more even cleaning for where I'm cleaning all the dirt and gunk off. Okay, definitely less power than the pressure washer as you'd expect. These plums were kind of a pain to get off, even with the fan thing on the pressure washer. And I'm not sure they're going to come off. Some of them will. That one's pretty caked on. But in terms of cleaning like the dirt off the sidewalk, it's doing moderately okay. Again, not quite like a pressure washer, but really not bad. So let's see how it does cleaning more of the kind of grimy stuff off of the sidewalk over here. It's not taking nearly as much off as the pressure washer. I mean, it's doing some, it's cleaning it, but it's clearly not like a pressure washer. It's not penetrating as deep and getting as much out of there. And obviously with the fan shape, it's gonna do even less. I mean, I can still see a pretty definitive line here. This was done with the pressure washer up here. This here, not. I'm curious if the fan even gets any of this grime off. Here's with the fan nozzle. It's doing a little bit, but not nearly as much as the pressure washer. Okay, now let's test it out on the car and see how well it dispenses the soap. I'm just kidding, there's no soap dispenser with this thing. I can live with that, again, for the price, but I am curious just kind of how well it's gonna help wash, if it's gonna be any better than like a handheld spray gun that you get for your garden. I have some of those too, and I don't know, this seems a little better, and it has a long wand on it, but I'm not totally sure yet, so let's see. All right, so obviously not quite a pressure washer. It's not putting out nearly the same pressure, but I could do a pretty decent job cleaning a car with it. I also feel pretty good about cleaning up cobwebs and stuff, things up high, cleaning out my rain gutters. I could do a lot with that too, but it's just not gonna do as much like on my concrete. The real test now I wanna see is if it can clean that wood. If it can clean the wood fencing back there that I did with the pressure washer really fast and really easy, if it can do even remotely as good as that, then I'm gonna be pretty sold, and I honestly think this is probably gonna be good enough for most homeowners. Let's go see. All right, for me now, this is kind of the make or break moment to decide whether or not this thing was even worth having in my garage. Because realistically speaking, even if it can do a lot of cleaning and stuff, if I really need it for some pressure washing type things and it can't do that, there's not a whole lot of reason for me to have another extra tool. If this just kind of falls somewhere between a garden sprayer and a pressure washer. But if it can clean off a fence pretty well, I'm gonna be pretty happy with that. So we're gonna see this section and this section I cleaned off just before this with the pressure washer. An 1800 PSI pressure washer was super easy. So let's see now with the fan nozzle. What do you know? Not as fast, but it did it. And also maybe not quite as deep. Got a lot of that buildup. Now I'm actually curious if my garden sprayer can do that, because if it can, then this is a glorified garden sprayer with a little bit of extra reach on it. But I can live with that. So we're gonna test out the garden sprayer next and see if it can do what this can do. Again, I don't need this. But if it can't, this might be good enough for most homeowners. Let's go see. All right, now we got my garden sprayer from Ace Hardware. We're gonna see if this can do just as good a job cleaning off the wood. I'm gonna do this board just up above these ones that I did with the pressure washer. All right, it is working. It's in jet mode, which is the fastest mode I've got. If I did flat, I'm getting a lot of the dirt off, but I'm not getting like all these, I mean, there's still some on here too, kind of the deeper stuff. Okay, that's it. This, not as good as the turbojet. And what that tells me is the turbojet is useful. It's better than a garden sprayer. So here's the deal. I guess here's where we come down on this thing, is if you don't have a need for a pressure washer, you're not cleaning a bunch of sidewalk or driveway almost ever, maybe ever even, and you just need something to be able to maybe clean off your fencing, reach cobwebs and stuff, reach a little bit higher and stuff than you'd be able to get with just a hose, that sort of a thing, paying for a pressure washer doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you do need something that's gonna be able to wash things really well, maybe that's gonna even be able to apply soap to your car and stuff for you, just to make that a little bit easier, and it's something you're gonna use often enough to justify the storage space to actually even have a pressure washer in your garage. If that's the case, then I've got a great option for you for under $100 in this Ryobi 1800 PSI pressure washer that we reviewed in this other video. Go check that out here. You can see just everything that it can do for under $100. That's a great deal. But if you don't have a need for that, the turbojet is gonna do just fine. We'll put a link to that in the video description below. Thanks for joining me today on Fixter DIY. We're here